All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving deep, really deep into DoorDash
Oh,
and how they did in 2024. If you
yeah.
want to really understand how DoorDash performed last year, stick with us because we've got all their financial reports right here,
Yeah.
ready to break them down.
Yeah.
We're not just going to look at the numbers, though. We're
Yeah.
going to break down their strategies, figure out how they're changing things, how they're shaping local economies.
Really interesting to see how DoorDash is like
Yeah,
going beyond just food delivery now.
right.
They're becoming a major player in all sorts of local commerce, connecting people with like a whole ecosystem of goods and services now.
Yeah, and they're doing really well. Like right away, one of the things that jumped out at me was DoorDash hit a major milestone in 2024. They achieved their first full year of GAAP net income profitability.
Whoa, that's huge.
That's right.
Yeah, that is a really big deal.
Yeah,
Reaching this level of financial stability, like it's a sign of how mature they are and how sustainable their business model is becoming.
totally.
A lot of tech companies, they try for this and try for this, but actually doing it is another story altogether.
Yeah.
Think about some of their competitors who are still like struggling to make a profit on each order.
Yeah.
DoorDash is way ahead of the game already. And, they focused on this early on, like optimizing their operations, streamlining things like, delivery routes and minimizing order cancellations.
Yeah.
This focus on efficiency really set the foundation for reaching that profitability.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see how that focus on efficiency translates to the actual numbers.
Yeah.
They saw 24% year-over-year revenue growth, bringing in a massive $10.7 billion.
Wow.
They also helped generate $60 billion for local merchants and get this $18 billion in earnings for Dashers.
That's incredible. Those numbers are massive.
Huge.
Yeah, those figures really show the scale of their impact.
Yeah.
DoorDash is like becoming essential for local businesses, a crucial support system.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're creating these flexible earning opportunities for so many people. So it's amazing what they're doing.
So how did they manage to do all of this? Like, what was their secret sauce?
Right.
It seems like their core strategy really revolved around efficiency and then reinvesting those gains back into growth, right?
You got it.
Okay.
They focus on improving what's called unit economics,
Okay.
which basically means making sure each transaction, each order is profitable as possible.
Right.
Then they take those profits and reinvest them into expanding their products and their services. New things, better things.
I see. So it's kind of like if you fine-tuned your own workflow so you could get more done in less time.
Exactly.
And then use that extra time to tackle bigger and better projects.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
Okay.
And it's clearly working for them.
Yeah.
It's led to improved unit economics, not just in their established U.S. restaurant category,
Right.
but also in newer areas like grocery delivery and international markets, which is pretty cool.
And speaking of growth, their monthly active users, or MAUs as they call them
Right.
in the biz, jumped to an impressive 42 million in December of 2024.
Wow.
But it's not just that more people are using DoorDash.
Right.
It's that people are using it more often.
Oh,
Their order frequency is going up. So
yeah, that's a major signal. It shows that people are like they're developing a habit of using DoorDash, integrating it into their daily routine.
absolutely. And look at this. Over 25% of MAUs ordered from what DoorDash calls new verticals,
Okay.
like groceries in December 2024, which is up from 20% the year before. So
So they're expanding their reach.
yeah, they're really becoming a one-stop shop for all sorts of local needs.
That diversification is really smart for long-term growth.
Yeah.
I mean, by expanding to those new categories, DoorDash can tap into a larger share of what consumers are spending.
Right.
It reduces their reliance on just one sector,
Yeah.
so makes them more resilient in the long run.
So let's take a closer look at their performance in
Yeah.
the U.S. market.
Okay.
Specifically,
All right.
we see this consistent growth in their restaurant category, with Q4 2024 being their strongest quarter yet.
Wow.
But what's really interesting is how aggressively they're expanding those new verticals, especially grocery delivery.
Yeah, they're going all in on that.
Yeah.
Think about this. They added thousands of new grocery stores to their platform last year.
Yeah.
That's a huge expansion of their selection and reach for customers.
Yeah, and what's driving this growth is the improvements they made to service quality, right?
Right.
Things like shorter delivery times, more accurate orders, like these things make a big difference.
It makes a huge difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about offering more choices. It's about making the experience good
Right.
so that people come back,
Exactly.
that they order more often.
It's all about quality.
Yeah.
Happy customers turn into loyal customers.
Yeah,
They come back for more, and that's what drives a business forward.
that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift gears and zoom in on DoorDash's international expansion.
All right, going global.
This is where it gets really interesting. Their international growth is actually outpacing their U.S. growth.
Really?
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
and it's fueled by this massive 25% year-over-year increase in the number of merchants on the platform.
Wow, that's mind-boggling when you think about the logistics of onboarding that many new businesses across different countries.
Different languages, different currency.
Futures, yeah,
And,
population.
yeah, and they're pulling it off.
That's really impressive.
And, they're reaping the rewards.
Yeah.
Their efforts to improve their product offerings and their subscription services like CashPass and Wolt Plus
Right.
have actually led to a significant increase in how often people are placing orders internationally.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
This international momentum is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
It could become their most powerful growth engine in the years to come.
All right, let's get into some of these nitty-gritty details of their financials.
Let's do it.
Especially Q4 2024. They saw a 19% year-over-year jump in total orders,
Okay.
reaching a mind-blowing 685 million.
685 million orders.
Yeah, and their marketplace GOV, which is like the total value of all those orders, climbed 21% to hit $21.3 billion.
So those are really impressive numbers. But
Yeah.
what's even more interesting is what they tell us about the health of their business.
You're right.
Yeah.
Their revenue soared to $2.9 billion, a 25% increase year over year.
Nice.
And they reported $141 million in GAAP net income and $566 million in adjusted EBITDA.
Okay, so it's important to understand what that adjusted EBITDA
Yeah.
figure
Get
means
down for it.
in the context of their overall financial picture.
Yeah.
So this metric, which stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization,
Okay.
gives us a clearer picture of their operating profitability.
Okay.
So in Q4 2024, their adjusted EBITDA as a percentage of marketplace GOV reached 2.7%.
Okay.
Which is a significant jump from the previous year.
Yeah.
So this tells us that they're getting much better at squeezing profits out of their operations, which is good news for them.
Okay. So 2024 was a big year for DoorDash.
Huge year.
But what about the future? What's their outlook
Yeah, what's next?
for 2025, and where are they planning to invest their resources?
So DoorDash is projecting a marketplace GOV of $22.6 to $23 billion
Okay.
for the first quarter of 2025,
Okay.
with an anticipated adjusted EBITDA of $550 to $600 million.
So they're expecting continued growth.
Yeah, it seems so. What's interesting is that they expect their adjusted EBITDA as a percentage of marketplace GOV to continue rising throughout the year.
Oh, okay. So even greater profitability.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
They're also planning significant investments in new categories in international markets,
Yeah.
This shows that they're confident in their ability to further expand their reach and their influence,
Yeah, but it's not all smooth sailing, is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are always potential challenges.
Always risk.
And risks to factor in, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, no business operates in a vacuum, right?
Right.
One potential risk is a slowdown in consumer spending,
Yeah.
which could directly impact their results.
Yeah, for sure.
And as their international presence grows, they inevitably face greater exposure to geopolitical and currency risks.
For sure, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah, definitely.
They're on a good trajectory. But it's important to be mindful of those external factors that could throw a wrench in things.
Yeah, you got to think about those things.
Yeah.
These kinds of nuances really show how a deep dive can reveal a lot more than just surface level information.
Totally.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Okay.
You start with something seemingly simple like DoorDash delivering food, and you end up uncovering a complex web of economic factors, technological innovation, and even societal shifts.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I'm already seeing DoorDash in a new light, and we've only just known.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep digging. We're just getting started with this deep dive. There's much more to uncover.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
What really stands out to me is how those potential risks we just talked about are actually intertwined with DoorDash's future growth. If consumer spending weakens, they might need to double down on those new categories and international markets to keep that momentum going. It's a high-stakes game for sure.
It's like they're playing chess, strategically planning their next move based on what's happening around them. So we've talked about the impressive financial performance, their smart strategy, and their ambitious expansion. But let's take a step back for a second and think about what it all means in the bigger picture. What does DoorDash's success mean for local economies? How does it impact consumers and businesses? And even more broadly, how does it shape the way we live and interact with our communities?
That's the key, isn't it? We're not just crunching numbers here, we're trying to understand the ripple effects.
It's mind-blowing to consider how something that started as a simple food delivery app has become such a powerful force in our daily lives.
DoorDash is becoming a microcosm of these larger trends we're seeing in technology, commerce, and even the evolution of cities. It's a fascinating case study.
One thing that really strikes me is how DoorDash is blurring the lines between delivery and local commerce. They're not just bringing you a takeout order anymore. They're connecting you with groceries, convenience items, pet supplies, almost anything you can imagine.
It's a fundamental shift. They're becoming this platform that links consumers to practically every aspect of their local economy. It begs the question, what does this mean for those traditional brick-and-mortar businesses? Are they going to have to adapt to this new reality where delivery is the main way people shop?
It's a challenge for some businesses, for sure, but it's also a huge opportunity. DoorDash is providing them with the tools and infrastructure they need to thrive in this digital age. Think about those small businesses that might not have the resources to build their own delivery network. DoorDash levels the playing field.
You're right. It's not just about survival. It's about leveraging these new technologies to reach new customers and grow in ways that weren't possible before. DoorDash is essentially democratizing access to a wider market for these businesses.
And for consumers, it's all about convenience, right? We're getting used to having everything we need just a few taps away, delivered right to our doorstep.
Convenience is a powerful force in consumer behavior. It's reshaping expectations and driving innovation across industries. Think about it. Just a few years ago, the idea of ordering groceries online and having them delivered in under an hour would have sounded crazy. Now it's becoming commonplace.
It's amazing how quickly our habits and expectations can change. And DoorDash is playing a key role in this transformation.
Absolutely. They're at the forefront of this on-demand economy, constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Okay, so we've established that DoorDash is killing it financially. They're growing at an incredible pace, and they're changing the way we think about local commerce. But let's not forget about the Dashers themselves. They're the backbone of this entire operation.
Couldn't agree more. DoorDash's success is inextricably linked to the hard work and dedication of its Dashers. They're the ones out there on the front lines, making those connections between businesses and consumers and keeping this whole system running smoothly.
And as DoorDash expands into these new categories and markets, the demand for Dashers is only going to increase.
Which raises some important questions about labor practices, worker classification, and the future of work in the gig economy.
These are complex issues, and there are no easy answers. But as we navigate this new landscape of work and commerce, we need to have these conversations.
Absolutely. It's about finding a sustainable balance between flexibility and security, innovation and responsibility.
We need to make sure that the benefits of this new economy are shared by everyone, not just a select few.
It's a shared responsibility. We need thoughtful regulation, ethical business practices, and a commitment to fairness from companies like DoorDash.
So as we continue this deep dive into DoorDash's 2024 performance, it's becoming clear that we're looking at much more than just a company. We're looking at a phenomenon that's reshaping the very fabric of our communities.
It's a story about technology, innovation, and the evolving relationship between people and their local economies. And like any good story, it's got its heroes, its challenges, and its open-ended questions.
This deep dive has taken us from a stack of financial reports to a thought-provoking exploration of where our local economies are headed.
And it's far from over. There's still so much more to uncover.
It really does feel like we're watching a turning point.
Yeah.
Not just for DoorDash, but for how we live in our communities.
Right.
We
Yeah.
covered so much in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
From the impressive financials to the broader implications
Yeah.
for businesses, for workers,
Right, for everyone, basically.
Yeah, like for the fabric of our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into DoorDash's 2024, like what's the key takeaway
That's a great question.
for our listener? Like what should they be thinking about as they go about their day? Maybe
Yeah.
place their next DoorDash order or
Yeah.
even consider, becoming a Dasher.
I think the most important thing to remember here is that DoorDash's success, it's not just about technology or logistic,
Right.
They've tapped into something much deeper about
Right.
human needs and desires.
Yeah.
They're making it so easy for people to access the things that make their lives easier, more enjoyable, more fulfilling.
I like that. It's like they cracked the code on convenience.
Yeah.
And connected it with this this desire we all have
Yeah.
to simplify things.
Right.
Yeah, and make more time for things they care about.
Exactly. And in doing so,
Yeah.
they've created this incredibly powerful network that's changing the dynamics of local economies.
Right, yeah, it's not just about,
Right.
getting a burger on a Tuesday night.
It's bigger than that.
Yeah, it's about.
It's about the ripple effects
Yeah.
this convenience has on businesses, on workers,
Yeah.
on the way our cities function.
Yeah, it's a lot to consider.
It is.
This deep dive has really changed how I
Yeah.
think about DoorDash.
Yeah, me too.
It's not just an app anymore. It's
Wow.
this whole,
Ecosystem.
this ecosystem
Yeah.
woven into my community.
I think that's the beauty of these deep dives.
Yeah.
They challenge our assumptions,
Uh,
they broaden our perspectives,
Yeah.
and they start new conversations about the world around us.
Totally. We started with, a stack of financial reports.
Just numbers on a page.
Yeah, and it ended up exploring the future of local economies.
It's amazing how knowledge can take you to unexpected places.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a constant journey of discovery.
I like that.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn. More to explore, more to discuss.
Well said.
Thanks.
I think we've given our listeners plenty to ponder today.
I think so too.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll see you next time for another fascinating journey into the world of knowledge.
ACRGS, Taiwan.